Big week in the game wrapped up this past Monday as golf went back to its American roots at Newport Country Club, and that's a good time to check in with our friend Billy Harmon, who for 6 years was the head pro there and caddied this past week at the U.S. Senior Open for Jay Haas. Bill, good to see you. How was this week for you?
Oh, it was great. I think we were the oldest combo, almost 144 years old between the two of us. Special week for me. I started caddying for Jay in 1978 to 88 full time. He's probably my best friend in my life. And so to come back here, which could be his last Senior Open at Newport Country Club, was a great walk down memory lane for me. So I had a fantastic week.
Second oldest player in the field after our colleague Gary Koch, who is 1
Correct,
year older.
yes.
But quite a week for not only all the players, I'm sure for you as well. Nostalgic, as we said, you worked there for 6 years. It was the first time that I had been there, and I've been to a lot of golf courses, to be quite frank. And I have to say this, I have not seen anything like it in the United States. Can you give people a sense of how special that place is?
I kind of rate golf courses differently. Some are just great courses, some are great experiences, maybe not a great course. I think Newport is both. I think it's one of the rare combinations of a great course and an even better golf experience. And when you're there, I think you know that you're at a special place. You can just feel it. Money can't buy it. Money can't make it special. Everything about it. I think that the fact that that incredible clubhouse is sitting on the highest part of the property, you can see it from almost every hole, from every different angle. And like you said, Jimmy, you'd never been there before, and you really couldn't believe what a special place Newport Country Club is.
Yeah, and there's a simplicity to it, in this day and age of trying to figure out how to make something special. This is way old school, right?
Well, I don't understand, to be honest with you, modern day architects that have, they can come to a course like this, and even though it's on a special piece of land, a lot of these holes you could design anywhere. And I don't really understand why architects don't pay a little bit more attention to some of the old school courses and see if they can reproduce them. But I just think it's just a magnificent golf course and an even better golf experience.
All right, you said you were there once again with your good friend Jay Haas. You've been caddying for him for a long, long time. This could be the end of this professional relationship for you guys, at least in terms of you carrying the bag for him.
Yeah.
Can you give people a sense of how important he is and has been to you in your life and why?
Not really. I think when I first started caddying for Jay in 1978, he was everything that I wasn't. At the time, I was under the throes of alcoholism and drug addiction, and he was a straight arrow. Everything about him, we were opposites, and I so admired and respected him. And he's become really, other than my family, the most influential person in my life. And he's never told me one thing to do. The way he carried himself and the way he acted, he didn't have to tell me what to do. He showed me what to do. And he's such an honorable, decent man. A throwback, I think, to the olden days of you spit in your glove and you get it done and no whining, no complaining. He told me early on in his career, if you couldn't play, shut up. And if you could play, you didn't have to say anything. And he stayed true to that his whole career. And he's a very, very proud man. He's gifted, but very proud of his career. And he has a lot of kind of longevity records, which are cool. He's played in 7 USGA events in 7 decades. He's played in USGA events. This week, he broke the all-time senior cut record, 18. He's moved ahead of Tom Watson. So one of the players yesterday said, Doug Barron said they should do a documentary on this guy. Nobody should be this good at age 70.
You've been very, very candid about your struggles. You mentioned it just a moment ago and where you've come from. I read a quote that at least is supposed to have come from your dad. He once said that you had a 30-mile-an-hour brain and a
100-mile-per-hour mouth. And Yeah, I've proven him right on that many times. I've tried to get better at that, but every now and then my mouth can still get me in trouble. But I think when he told me I didn't like it, but I really think it's very funny now, and actually it's very true, to be honest with you. It did get me in trouble.
Well, again, going back to Newport, I know is very, very special for you. Those 6 years at a special place, but also must bring back some memories. There was a great article by Adam Schupak in Golf Week magazine where you revealed the fact that that was a place where you almost ended your life.
Yeah, it was interesting. I knew I had a drinking and drug problem, and I'm sad to say I'm still married to the beautiful woman that I was married to then. I've always been sad to say that the marriage didn't drive me to my low point. But when my son was born, my first son was born, I remembered vividly looking in the back seat of the car when we put him in there and feeling this incredible sense of love that I'd never experienced. And I remember looking out the window 1 second later and realizing that that kid's father was an alcoholic and a drug addict, and how unfair that was. And I'd love to say that I quit that day. It took me about, oh God, maybe 10 more weeks, and there was an intervention done. But the balcony there overlooking the ninth green this week used to be the balcony of our apartment. And one night, Zach woke up crying at 2 in the morning, like he always had, to get fed. And I had been drinking that night, and it irritated me that he woke me up. And Robin got up to feed him, and within 5 seconds, I felt the self-loathing that, what's become of my life, that my son, is 2 months old and he's crying to get fed, and it's bothering me. So I walked out on the balcony. I don't think what I wanted to do was disappear. I wanted to not be where I was. I wanted to get away from that self-loathing and self-hatred. So this week, every time I walk back past that balcony, I realized how far my life had come. But I also thought about how many people that right now are struggling the way I struggled. And I hope that the story with Adam would inspire some people that had my problems and have been at the abyss, let's say, of this, would realize that there's a way out, and there's a way to a better life. And I couldn't imagine the life that I have today to come back here, all these years later, and to be sober and clean, and to look up at that balcony and think it's been a hell of a journey, man. Great journey.
How many years sober for you?
31 plus. If I make it to August 27th, I'll have 32, but I got to get today first. So I'm not worried about August 27th, but it's been, more than I could have ever imagined. I don't think I ever stayed sober 31 hours. So 31 years is pretty good, I'd say.
Well, good for you on that. And I know you talked about giving back. You and your wife started the Harmon Recovery Foundation. So what's the takeaway if you were to see a young player or a young caddy, somebody who's living the golf life and on the road? Mm-hmm. What's the advice that you would give them if they are struggling?
Well, I think, alcoholics and drug addicts were really good con artists. And I think that I was told early on, if I conned you, I would hurt your feelings. If I conned me, I'd get loaded again. So I think you have to be very, very honest with yourself. You have to admit you have a problem, but then you want to really have to do it. You have to want to be sober and clean. I don't really think you can do it, Jimmy, unless you have some kind of psychic shift where you say, I give alcohol and drugs as beaten me to a pulp, and I give, and I want to change, and I want to live a different life. And I don't know where that comes from, to be honest with you. I know when the intervention was done in the clubhouse at Newport Country Club, I've often wondered if it happened the day before or the day after, would I have been ready? That's how elusive this thing is. So the odds are against people having long-term sobriety and living a clean and sober life. So, but I think it has to come somewhere inside you. You have to look in the mirror and say, I can't do this anymore. I give, I surrender, and I need to look for some help and start living a different life. Unfortunately for me, I've been able to do that for a long time.
As they say, you are powerless.
Yes.
Since the very, very beginning, one of the things that you have had in your life is the last name of Harmon, which is very, very famous. Your dad, of course, a great player, a great teacher. Your brother's there. There are four of you. But I often wonder about your dad, who, of course, won the Masters and taught for so many years at Wingfoot. You think he was a better player or a better teacher?
I think my dad, I'm biased, but I think he's one of the most influential people in the history of the game. His playing abilities as a club pro, he won the Masters, but he had four other top three in majors. He mentored over 60 pros that went on and got their head pro jobs at other clubs that they mentored their assistants. So that tree is still growing. And at the time, he was considered maybe the best teacher in the world. So I don't really know of any golf figure that was that good in all three areas. So I think he's one of the more influential people in American golf. It just wasn't as a player. The teacher part back then didn't get the the street cred that it gets now, and the mentoring is overlooked too. But I think he felt that a head professional was supposed to mentor his assistants, so he could make their lives better. So he was a very powerful guy, a good needler. He leaned on the boys a little bit, but I think we turned out okay.
It's funny. As I said, there are four brothers. One of the funny things that I've heard over the years is that Jay Haas refers to himself as Brother 5A.
He's definitely a member of the family. He gets all the Harmon stuff, and his uncle was Bob Golby, and I got all of Bob Golby's stuff. So we have a tremendous connection. When he dropped me off this morning, because we had to putt out on he had to putt out on 18 today. He turned to me and said, "I love you," and I said, "I love you." So our relationship is this chapter of Jay and Bill isn't over. I'm going to try to convince them to do golf schools with me. So the caddy part might be over, but not the Jay and Bill show is definitely not over.
All right, well, sign me up for that golf school. Both good guys. A golf life well lived. Billy Harmon, thanks so much for joining us on Golf Central.
Thanks for having me.